Hi everybody, I'm doing my trip about the United Kingdom. I just have a lot of interest in it because mainly from like social media, and so many people that are influencers tend to be from the UK, so I've just had a lot of interest in it. So here's a little bit of information about London, even though my whole trip wasn't based only on London, but it was the main part of the trip, of course. So day one tends to just be a lot of travel. I decided to go with a rental car for my trip and then just getting into the hotel and going to only the London Bridge for the first day. So then day two is filled with more sightseeing. It actually has to do with a lot of like cheaper or things that don't cost any money. And then more sightseeing, and then going into a little bit of shopping while I was there just to see like if there were any like stores that they have that the United States doesn't have. And then day four, I decided to go into Birmingham and traveled there for the rest of the trip. So going north in the UK. So then I did a couple sightseeing things there. Of course, I drove there with my rental car, got into a new hotel, and then more of just seeing some of what Birmingham has to offer on day 6. Day 7, I left Birmingham, traveled back to London, so I was able to fly out. So that just had a lot to do with giving back the rental car, getting to the airport, and then of course heading back home. So I like to include this in there. This was from my Excel spreadsheet, and it just breaks down by percentage what the trip costs. So you can obviously see that travel was the biggest expense of this trip, which obviously is what most of us are going to have as being the most expensive part of the trip. Of course, when you're going overseas, like I think this flight was like 12 hours with no stopping, I believe, from Detroit. So that obviously is going to cost a lot of money, and you didn't have to. I just thought if I were the one that would be taking this trip, I would prefer to have my own rental car to go wherever I wanted, whenever I want, so I would have the ability to go and do the things I wanted without having to be a part of like a tour group and just not having any control over the things I wanted to do by myself. So the next thing that takes up the most is the lodging at 15%, which also isn't very shocking. But the reason my attractions were so cheap, I would say, is because I decided to go with a lot of free things, which, I mean, of course, the outdoors there are going to be beautiful. So they have a lot of things that aren't going to cost any money that you're able to see there. So then I didn't do it, but for the best experience, there is a travel agency you could go with to get help with that, but I thought that doing it my way was going to be a little cheaper than having a travel agency do it. And then here are some of the references I used for hotels, flights, and about some of the restaurants and stuff that I ate at.